The atmosphere around New England feels noticeably heavier this week, and not in a negative way. There's a sense of responsibility settling in, the kind that only shows up when a team realizes it has moved beyond being a nice surprise and into being a real factor. The Patriots are no longer playing loose football, fueled only by hope or curiosity. They are playing with intent, with the understanding that every decision, every snap, and every adjustment is now being evaluated through the lens of sustainability. This shift changes everything, from how practices are run to how the coaching staff manages the roster on a weekly basis. What stands out immediately is how proactive the organization has been. Rather than waiting for small cracks to become visible fractures, the Patriots are addressing issues as soon as they surface. That approach was evident after the most recent game, where the defensive numbers told a story that went deeper than what the final score suggested. Seeing a safety lead the team in tackles is not something a defensive-minded staff ignores. While effort and toughness are never questioned, that stat often points to problems earlier in the chain, problems that allow ball carriers to reach the secondary far too often. For a defense built on structure and discipline, that is an area that demands immediate attention. The response was swift and calculated. Adjusting the roster at this stage of the season is not about reaction or desperation. It is about preserving identity. New England has always been at its best when the middle of the field is controlled, when linebackers are filling gaps decisively and taking pressure off the defensive backs. When that balance is disrupted, everything else becomes harder. Offenses gain confidence, playbooks expand, and small hesitations turn into meaningful yardage. The Patriots understand that, and their recent move reflects a commitment to restoring that equilibrium. Injuries, availability, and timing all intersect at this point in the season. A unit can look dominant one week and vulnerable the next, depending on who is available and how opponents choose to attack. Earlier in the year, the Patriots' defense showed it could dictate terms. Running lanes were squeezed, passing windows were tight, and opponents were forced into long, uncomfortable drives. That version of the defense does not vanish overnight, but it does require the right combination of health, depth, and communication to function at its peak. Depth, in particular, becomes invaluable as the calendar turns. This is the stretch where bodies feel every hit, where recovery takes longer, and where mental fatigue can quietly creep in. Adding a linebacker who understands physical football and structured defenses sends a message to the locker room. Competition remains alive, preparation matters, and no role is taken for granted. Even players who are not expected to see heavy defensive snaps can influence games through special teams and practice intensity. Those contributions add up, especially in tight contests decided by field position and momentum. There's also a broader patience at work here. Managing players who are close to returning but not quite ready requires restraint, something not every team handles well. The temptation to rush reinforcements back onto the field can be strong, particularly when matchups loom large. But New England has taken a longer view. Protecting players now can be the difference between having them available later or watching them struggle through setbacks. That philosophy reflects a team that is thinking beyond the immediate week and focusing on the arc of the season as a whole. The upcoming challenge only sharpens that focus. Facing a physical opponent that thrives on stressing defenses forces clarity. Every assignment matters. Every read must be decisive. Against a team that punishes hesitation, linebackers become the fulcrum of the defense. They must diagnose quickly, flow cleanly, and communicate seamlessly with the line in front of them and the secondary behind them. It is the kind of test that reveals whether recent adjustments have taken hold or whether more work remains. What makes this moment compelling is how much the Patriots have evolved since the opening weeks. Early on, there were questions about consistency and ceiling. Wins were appreciated but examined closely, sometimes viewed as fragile or matchup dependent. As the season has progressed, those doubts have softened. The team has shown an ability to absorb adjustments from opponents and respond in kind. Game plans have become more nuanced, situational awareness has improved, and the margin for error has narrowed in a positive way. Confidence plays a powerful role in this transformation. Winning changes how teams carry themselves. Meetings become sharper, accountability increases, and preparation takes on a different tone. Players begin to expect success rather than hope for it. That expectation is subtle but significant. It influences how mistakes are handled, how adversity is processed, and how quickly corrections are made. The Patriots appear to be embracing that mindset, understanding that belief must be reinforced by daily habits, not just Sunday results. As the league standings tighten, every outcome carries added weight. Conversations naturally drift toward positioning, tiebreakers, and potential paths forward. While control of certain outcomes may sit elsewhere, the Patriots have consistently focused on the elements within their reach. That approach has deep roots in the organization. Handle preparation, execute with discipline, and stay ready for moments when opportunity appears unexpectedly. Seasons often turn not on grand statements, but on quiet stretches of consistency. The idea of matchups also begins to loom larger. Football, especially in the postseason, is deeply contextual. Records matter, but styles often decide outcomes. Teams that can disrupt timing, force patience, and capitalize on mistakes tend to thrive under pressure. When New England plays to its strengths, it fits that mold. Long drives are forced, explosive plays are limited, and opponents are compelled to earn every yard. That formula does not always dominate headlines, but it travels well into challenging environments. There's a sense of unfinished business embedded in this phase of the season. Past games, whether wins or losses, leave impressions that inform future preparation. They highlight areas that need refinement and moments that could unfold differently with sharper execution. Those lessons are not burdens. They are reference points. The Patriots appear to be using them constructively, shaping weekly plans with an eye toward avoiding familiar pitfalls. Defensively, tightening the middle remains a priority. When linebackers play fast and the line controls leverage, the entire structure benefits. Coverage becomes cleaner, pass rushers gain freedom, and safeties can play aggressively instead of reactively. That balance is essential against well-rounded offenses capable of exploiting even brief lapses. Restoring and maintaining that balance is less about individual performances and more about cohesion. On the other side of the ball, reliability continues to define success. Explosive moments are welcome, but control often wins in critical stretches. Sustaining drives, managing tempo, and avoiding unnecessary mistakes reduce pressure across the roster. The Patriots have shown they can operate effectively within that framework when they stay patient and disciplined. Those traits tend to surface most clearly in games where every possession feels magnified. Adversity has also played its role in shaping this group. Injuries and uneven performances tested depth and resolve earlier in the year. Instead of derailing progress, those challenges prompted adaptation. Roles shifted, responsibilities expanded, and the team continued moving forward. Experiences like those leave marks that matter later, when games hinge on composure as much as talent. As the season pushes deeper, no opponent can be taken lightly. Records fade in importance when motivation peaks across the league. Teams fight for positioning, pride, and survival, and complacency is punished quickly. The Patriots seem aware of that reality, approaching each week with a blend of urgency and restraint. They are building something deliberate, something grounded in preparation rather than noise, and that foundation continues to shape how this story unfolds from here. As the calendar tightens and the pressure naturally increases, the Patriots find themselves operating in a space where every detail is magnified. This is no longer the part of the season where potential is discussed in abstract terms. Results define perception now, and consistency defines credibility. New England understands that what has been built over the past weeks can either solidify into something lasting or fade quickly if attention slips. That awareness is shaping how this team approaches preparation, recovery, and game planning on a daily basis. One of the most telling elements right now is how calculated everything feels. There's no sense of chasing narratives or reacting emotionally to weekly headlines. Instead, the Patriots appear locked in a process. Each game is being treated as its own problem to solve, with lessons taken forward but not allowed to linger unnecessarily. That discipline is not accidental. It reflects an organization that has long valued structure over impulse, especially when momentum begins to build and expectations start to shift externally. Defensively, the emphasis on cohesion has grown stronger. Football at this level is rarely about a single missed tackle or blown assignment. It is about chains of events. A late read here, a poor angle there, a slight hesitation at the snap, and suddenly an offense is operating with confidence. The Patriots have been working to eliminate those sequences before they develop. Communication between the front seven and the secondary has become sharper, and there is a noticeable effort to close space earlier rather than relying on recovery speed downfield. The physical demands of this stretch cannot be overstated. Every collision leaves a mark, and recovery becomes a skill in itself. This is where depth quietly separates contenders from pretenders. Players who may not see the field for extended snaps still play a critical role by keeping practices competitive and standards high. When a team maintains intensity during the week, it reduces the drop-off when adjustments are required on game day. New England's recent personnel decisions suggest a clear understanding of that dynamic. Offensively, patience continues to be a defining trait. There is an understanding that not every drive needs to end with fireworks to be successful. Field position, clock control, and rhythm all matter, especially against opponents that thrive on forcing shootouts. The Patriots have shown an ability to settle into games, absorb early punches, and gradually tilt control in their favor. That composure is often overlooked, but it becomes invaluable when environments grow louder and stakes grow heavier. What is particularly interesting is how the team responds after success. Winning can be deceptive if it leads to complacency, but it can also sharpen focus if handled correctly. The Patriots seem to be leaning toward the latter. Practices remain demanding, corrections remain blunt, and roles remain competitive. No one has been treated as permission to relax standards. That internal posture often determines whether late-season momentum is real or fleeting. There's also a growing clarity in identity. Teams spend the early part of the year experimenting, adjusting, and discovering who they are. By this point, uncertainty becomes a liability. New England appears increasingly comfortable with its strengths and honest about its limitations. That self-awareness allows for smarter game plans. Rather than forcing elements that are not sustainable, the Patriots have leaned into what travels well and holds up under pressure. The mental side of the game becomes just as important as the physical. Film study takes on added significance. Tendencies are dissected more thoroughly, and small advantages are pursued relentlessly. Players begin to recognize formations and concepts more quickly, shaving fractions of seconds off reaction times. Those margins are often invisible to casual observers, but they are the difference between second and short and third and long, between controlling a drive and chasing one. As discussions around postseason scenarios grow louder outside the building, the Patriots have largely insulated themselves from that noise. They understand that projecting outcomes too far ahead can distract from the work at hand. Instead, the focus remains narrow. Preparation for the next opponent, correction of recent mistakes, and reinforcement of habits that have produced success. That tunnel vision has historically served teams well when the margin for error shrinks. The idea of resilience continues to surface when evaluating this group. Not every performance has been clean, and not every plan has unfolded perfectly. What matters is the response. The Patriots have shown an ability to adjust within games and across weeks, a trait that separates disciplined teams from rigid ones. Flexibility without losing structure is a difficult balance to strike, but it is one New England has been managing effectively. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Your support helps us bring you the latest updates on the New England Patriots. And of course, drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from Patriots fans. Foxborough is buzzing with rumors after what insiders are calling a blockbuster move in the NFL. The New England Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals are reportedly closing in on a major trade. Details remain murky, but sources close to both organizations suggest that the deal could reshape the landscape of the league and send shockwaves through fan bases. Fans in New England are already buzzing with speculation. The Patriots, known for their strategic maneuvering under Bill Belichick, have reportedly been exploring ways to inject new energy into their roster. Meanwhile, the Bengals, fresh off several strong seasons, might be looking to recalibrate their depth chart or gain assets for the future. The synergy of these two franchises engaging in talks is enough to ignite speculation about who exactly could be on the move. Rumors point toward a high-profile player potentially heading to Foxborough, though insiders are tight-lipped on specifics. Could be a quarterback shakeup, a star wide receiver, or even a defensive powerhouse. The possibilities have fans, analysts, and even rival teams on high alert. Social media is alight with debates, predictions, and a flurry of hashtags, with Patriot supporters imagining the potential impact on an already storied franchise. Cincinnati, on the other hand, faces a wave of uncertainty. The Bengals' locker room dynamics, team chemistry, and playoff ambitions could all be affected depending on the outcome. Fans are split between excitement over potential draft picks or emerging talents and concern over losing a key piece of their roster. Analysts have begun speculating how such a trade might ripple across the AFC, potentially reshaping matchups and strategy for the coming season. While official statements are expected to be sparse until the deal is finalized, insiders suggest that negotiations have progressed rapidly, with both sides eager to make statement. If confirmed, this trade would not only be a headline grabber, but a turning point in how both franchises approach team building in the future. For now, all eyes remain on Foxborough and Cincinnati, as the rumor mill churns and anticipation reaches fever pitch. One thing is certain. The NFL landscape could look very different if this blockbuster rumor becomes reality. That's it for today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving fresh and exclusive Patriots news, make sure to subscribe and hit like. We always appreciate hearing your opinions in the comments. See you in the next one, Patriots Nation.